everyone. Welcome into Attacking Third alongside Darian Jenkins and Christine Cupo. I'm Lisa Carlin. We have Olympic semifinals to recap, a gold medal match and a bronze medal match to preview because those are coming up this weekend. Plus, the Summer Cup has wrapped up their semifinals and we have a final set for October 25th. But earlier today, there was some news with Trinity Rodman, Sophia Smith, and Mallory Swanson going on the Today Show and announcing that they want to be called Triple Espresso. Interesting. You can comment on that if you want. But I want to know from you guys, my creative brains at the desks, what should we call them?
I liked the Trident.
Yeah.
I didn't mind it, even though it's a gum that people hate.
Okay. Like, what about
I like Trident gum.
Yeah.
we could have gone with like the terrible triad because
The terrible
or the
triad.
terrifying triad. Anything like, I don't know. I liked a number of other names.
There's been a lot. The
of-
trifecta, the Trident. There's been a number. And now,
Julie Foudy's been throwing them out like crazy on the broadcast. What was ooh la la?
Yeah.
Who's ooh? Who's la la?
El Tre,
Yeah.
la Tre. I don't know. I don't remember what it was.
Yeah.
Play?
La
The
Trois,
ooh
ooh la la.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. I liked Trident.
I like that they're getting involved in it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like triple espresso. Like,
That's a lot.
unless they're like partnering with like Sabrina Carpenter so that they can put like, that's me espresso, like before the games. Like, I don't understand. No, it doesn't do it for me.
Well, we'll see. We've got one more match in this Olympics to see what we're going to call the three Trident, the trio, triple shot up top. I don't know, of the Swanson, Rodman, and Smith up top for the U.S. women's national team because they've advanced out of the semifinal to the gold medal match. But there's another gold medal match as well, or excuse me, a semifinal. Brazil taking on Spain in the semifinal. Bit of an upset. Brazil get the 4-2 win over Spain ultimately. I did not have Brazil going that far.
Can we run Lisa's like
No.
viral Instagram reel that's going on right now?
I just didn't predict Brazil to come back this strong, considering
I didn't either.
how they got knocked out of the group stage in the World Cup just a year ago, and they had some struggles throughout the CONCACAF W Gold Cup earlier this year. What has changed, Christine, for this Brazilian side to make it all the way to a gold medal match?
They have shored up their defense for sure. The attack, they are moving seamlessly. They're also really physical, and I think the teams that they've come up against so far just really can't contend with that level of physicality.
Yeah.
They've been more decisive in their finishing. They're following through when you have a separate runner just in case to catch that second ball when they're trying to finish. They are a team that I don't think we've ever seen quite this together in recent years. So whatever Arthur Elias has been doing with them, it's absolutely working. I feel like they've woken this sleeping monster.
No, I agree. I think the biggest thing for me is the defensive piece. We've never been critical of Brazil and the attack and how creative they can be, how dangerous they look when they're in possession of the ball. It's transition and goalkeeping. Lorena had 8 saves. She was a monster in the net.
She looks
this
confident,
match.
too.
Confident. And that was the biggest question mark for me coming into this, especially from W Gold Cup and some friendlies. Very questionable goalkeeping. I think that she proved us all wrong. She shut me up because she did absolutely amazing. But physicality-wise, I think this is why Brazil is doing well. They're knocking people around. They look really organized in the back line. Their blocks are very set. You can see exactly what they're trying to do, and it's worked out. And I think with Marta being out, they've had even more belief in this team.
There's been a lot of adversity that this group has had to go through. One of them, before the Olympics even started, when Autor Elias named this roster, he put Caroline on this list, which was a shock to a lot of people. We talked about it on Attacking Third. No Dabinia, and you bring in Caroline, who hasn't played a game yet, still recovering from that ACL injury at the end of 2023. She comes on in this match in the semifinal and ends up scoring the 4th goal for Brazil. Why do you think Elias brought her now?
I think it's clear. I think the question mark that I had, and Caroline is easily one of my favorite players in NWSL. I would have included her probably just for vibes, but I digress. She managed to provide that goal, and she had played, scant minutes prior. End of the game, that nail in the coffin, that definitive, we are Brazil, we are here. And also, I am back.
Yeah.
So I think that, prior to that, we had a lot of conversations about who might have been a better pick. Would it have been better to have included Dabinia? She's been productive. And then, Caroline shows up and proves that yes, she still belongs here. She's back. I can't wait to see her back for regular club play.
And the confidence that it gives you as a player when you haven't played a minute and your international coach calls you into the Olympics to get your first minutes back from an injury on the world stage at an international tournament. On the other side of this game was Spain, who fell hard to Brazil. They fell like a big old tree. The first goal scored in this game was an own goal by Spain. And defensively, Darian, there were just a lot of mistakes out of the back. Where did it fall apart defensively?
Well, I don't actually believe that this is the first time we've seen Spain defensively be poor. I just think we've seen they met their match with a team technically, tactically, physically asking questions of them. Brazil has speed up top, exposing Spain's gaps in their back line. I also think Spain they're an amazing team. Maybe you get a little bit cocky on the ball and you want to play possession all the time, even playing from the goalkeeper position. You want to have a pass on a dime constantly. Just kick it out. I think that's where Brazil found their momentum, was high pressing goalkeeper, getting an own goal, and then from there it was bam, pressure's on. We're going to high press, we're going to lock you out. You're going to have to make decisions that you don't have 10 seconds to make on the ball and make short, quick passes to let everybody else move. You have to make decisions early. I don't think Spain were ready for it. They fully met their match.
I think they were a little bit a victim of their own hubris.
Yeah.
Because Brazil, again, constant, unyielding pressure. And then on top of that, they're crashing the net. You see Katakoi having a pretty bad game for her.
Yeah.
As you have Adriana, I think it was chirping in her face. I love that.
That was
Honestly,
crazy.
I always say more villains in WOSO.
In
I
women's
pray for
soccer,
them
100%.
every day. But to see that kind of bravado and just unrelenting spirit, just Brazil taking big bites out of Spain and Spain not being able to react, just capitalizing on every single error Spain could make, every mispass, every single time they thought they had time to make another short pass and they didn't. It was very hard not to root for Brazil this match. I'm going to be honest.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I also think Spain they've never played competition that really matches them in every way, but didn't sit in a low block. Teams respect them so much, and Brazil came out swinging.
They were
and
physical
it paid
too,
off.
which is
Yes.
hard for Spain to manage that ultimately.
It's a shock.
And
Then you're
manages
on
the
your
word,
heels.
which turns your gaze toward Monse with, was this a match that she was capable of properly managing? Just the substitutions, player utilization. I would say it probably is one of her worst that we've seen.
I would argue that it's one of Autor Elias's best that we've seen. His ability to scout Spain, know how to put them under pressure, which pockets to force into, to rattle them. The world champions, ultimately, they do get rattled. So Brazil will go on to the gold medal match and Spain will go on to the bronze medal match. But in the other semifinal, we had USA taking on Germany, a rematch of a group stage match. Took until the 95th minute, and then Sophia Smith gets the game-winning goal for the United States. But Christine, during regulation, 12 shots for the USA, 8 of them on target, yet it took until extra time for the U.S. to find the back of the net. What happened?
Yeah, I think we've obviously talked about this coming into this competition where we have a problem finishing, right? We're just not clinical in the final third, not getting the proper chances off. Obviously, we're dealing with fatigue at this juncture in this tournament, but it also took extra time to beat Japan. Again, another tactical slog. They're just unable to finish, and then all of a sudden they're reinvigorated in extra time somehow. I think what we're seeing, though, is obviously the top line, that trio, now have a trio of goals apiece. Right? Why is 3? 3 is the number, apparently. 3 goals apiece for that top line. But, and yeah, decisive goals and important goals for sure, but just not nearly as productive. I think that the midfield has been negated in a little bit of a way. We saw them switch between that single pivot, double pivot. They need to get a little bit more active, I think, and help them out, increase their chances. We obviously have Crystal Dunn on that left flank that usually contributes a huge, but even we haven't seen her any Crystal Dunn goals. Maybe I'm manifesting that right now yet, but just fixing that, and then also just dealing with their set piece problem. We've seen some direct free kicks that were abysmal. We haven't seen them convert on a corner. Gianni Vio definitely still has his work cut out for him and working with the team. Again, things that I'm sure Emma is aware of as an imperfect team that she's mentioned going forward.
You mentioned that back-to-back games in the knockout round went into extra time and that they were slogs against Japan, a bit of a tactical breakdown, and then even against Germany, trying to find those holes in those slots. And post-game, following the semifinal, U.S. women's national team head coach Emma Hayes said that she wanted a little bit of adversity for this team, saying, quote, "I could see today that players were having to dig to the deepest place within them. I've said this all along. The reason I want to play the team together for as long as possible is because I want them to develop that. I want them to suffer. I want them to have that moment because I do not believe you can win without it." Darian, why did she say that?
I want them to suffer. You're not a real team. You both know this. You're not a real team unless you're going through crap together and you handle pressure and you're facing adversity and you're able to overcome it, whether it's a win, a tie, or just coming out on top and looking at it as a win. And I totally understand that. I think my only thing is, the players' health, what this tournament, the Olympics, that's a bigger discussion just because the Olympic format is ridiculous. But I understand wanting them to suffer to just get that extra edge for these players. And we talked about it on the recap show of, we finally saw the grit of this team. Can they handle pressure? Can they overcome adversity? Can they come out together? And I think we're finally seeing them as well have fun with it. And these players are thriving under Emma Hayes, so I get it. I understand why she said that.
Yeah, I totally understand. You're never going to bond a team together faster than through extreme
What do they call
adversity.
that? Trauma bonding?
Yes.
Well, not in this instance. I'd say, like, you go into your pain cave, you problem solve together, right? Because when you're at your lowest point and you're not sure how much you have left in the tank, you have to use each other more than being an individual player. So I feel like, to the spirit of we need to create chemistry in a short amount of time, Emma Hayes has done this with the fewest number of trainings, friendlies going into this, knowing that they are an imperfect product, trying to level set expectations for the U.S. team, and them exceeding it to this extent where they're heading into the gold medal match is already a massive positive for this team. But how far into your pain cave can you go together and come back out? And I think we're starting to see that. But I also think that this points us to another positive attribute for this team is we haven't seen their ceiling yet either. Which means that there's so much more to go and so much more to cultivate within this squad where you know where they can sit comfortably in pain and still come up ahead.
One more match for the U.S. in this tournament as they head to take on Brazil in the gold medal match, and we will preview that in its entirety. But Hayes saying that's why she didn't have a lot of rotation. She wanted this group go together. Does that mean no rotation heading into the gold medal match, Darian?
Yeah, I doubt it. I would be shocked. The only one that's a question mark is Tierna Davidson. Don't take her out at halftime. Don't take her out at halftime. Bring her in at half if that's what you want to do. But I think for the center back position, it should be solid for as long as you possibly can.
I think my only concern with that, and then in the spirit of health only, right? Is coming up against a very physical.
Let's play her 120.
But coming up against a very physical Brazil side, and having taken that knock, I feel like.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see. We will preview USA taking on Brazil in the gold medal match later to come. But there were more semifinals, the Summer Cup. Those rounded out earlier this week. We are recapping everything that went down in those two matches. Welcome back to Attacking Third. The Summer Cup semifinals have concluded, and we have two teams heading to San Antonio on October 25th in the final, Kansas City and Gotham. Gotham got the 1-0 win over Angel City, marking their second final in less than a year as reigning NWSL champions. And Kansas City Current's 2-0 win over North Carolina means 4 wins in 4 matches of the Summer Cups. 12 goals scored, leading all teams. And ultimately, we get more Summer Cup action in the fall, something to look forward to. But we have to recap these semifinal matches because Kansas City took on North Carolina, Christine, and Temwa Chawinga was missing for the previous 2 matches. She returns for Kansas City. It only took her 2 minutes to find the back of the net.
Temwa Chawinga, just adding to her tally of 12 goals and 5 assists, didn't even want to take a beat. She needed to announce that she was very much back. 2 minutes in, and she could have had more bites of the ball for sure. Bova came up big, July Player of the Month, 3 big saves, so could have made a bigger dent. But Kansas City just have so many talented players and goal scorers at that They're so formidable. They are really hard to contend, and they haven't missed a step this Summer Cup. Going back into regular season is going to be just absolutely terrifying.
You don't have to tell Darian any of that because she knows. She predicted this, Darian. You were right. You said Kansas
I was
City
wrong.
would
Music to my ears.
I was
Music to my
wrong.
ears.
You were right.
Thank
I
you.
said courage.
Thank you.
You said
If you want to say it again, I won't be
no.
mad.
You're right.
You knew that they would
always
score.
right.
You knew that they would advance and make it to the final. We'll see how they do come October 25th, but they've been impressive to watch in their attack. Tell us why.
I'm not only going to tell you, I'm going to show you,
Oh,
ladies.
she
and
brought
viewers.
props today.
Oh, you
She's
got
brought
a
some
prop to
tactics.
I cut clips. I got to strut over to the wall.
Teach us, Professor D.
I will. I'm going to take you through why Kansas City is so lethal. It is basically because of how they transition so well. We haven't seen a team be able to stop them besides Orlando. Here, see how Kansas City is just swarming North Carolina. And then as soon as the ball's picked up, head up, first pass goes forward. And as Cupo said, when you have Chewinga, you have the ultimate cheat code in, honestly, the world. Here, she opts to shoot herself, but check how Debinha is following up. She's staying in the frame of the goal for the rebound. Here, again, Kansas City in possession. It only takes 3 passes to get into the attack. Keep your eye on Debinha here. Balasagar plays this into the pocket. She turns, and no one else but Chewinga in between the center backs asking questions of North Carolina's back line. She gets on the end of this, but look at how many runners from Kansas City are getting into the 18, ready for a rebound, ready for a cross. Debinha gets a touch, but Chewinga again is staying alive, ready to put it away, gets her first goal back from injury, looking like she was never hurt, looking like she didn't skip a beat. Here again, Kansas City get this recovery, look straight up. Debinha exploiting all of these pockets of space. The ball is able to be threaded through, and look at Chewinga just staying on the back shoulder of the center back, looking dangerous. You have Cooper coming in on the backside. Debinha head up, looks how many numbers for North Carolina in the box, opts to just hit it off the defender, get a corner, but another dangerous opportunity. Here, keep your eye on Labonta. As she checks too, it creates this giant pocket of space for Mace to bring this ball down, and look at the front line. You have Debinha and Chewinga in between the center backs ready for this next ball. Mace takes a great touch looking forward, and look at the texture and pace on this ball. It's right into the path of Chewinga, and then again, Debinha in the frame of the goal waiting for that rebound, just looking dangerous, hungry to score. Again, Kansas City with the ball recovery. Labonta makes this great cross-channel run, loses her defender because they're worried over here about DiBernardo. Chewinga again and Debinha on the back line waiting for this ball over the top. And when you have that, it's impossible to stop them. Debinha gets on the end of this, tries to cross it. You again have more numbers getting in to help support the attack. It's saved ultimately, but again, another great opportunity. Here, ball is cleared out. Just keep your eye on Chewinga and how she's able to get past Kaylee Kurtz, takes a touch herself. Keep your eye on Debinha, again, looking to help support the attack. Chewinga goes herself. It's ultimately blocked, but Debinha following up is able to slot this home. And this is why Kansas City is just so lethal in the attack. They're so strong, and no one's been able to stop them. And that is why I had them going to the final. And I'm going to say the NWSL championship as well. I think they're going to be one of the teams in there.
A double shout. I like that. Write that one down. We've got October 25th
Write it down. I said
to
it
see
here.
what happens, and then come the NWSL championship. But Christine, throughout this match, North Carolina, I mean, there were moments, Darian pointed out, Kaylee Kurtz tracking back and looking to get there. Danny Weatherholt in the back line calling for help because she's surrounded by 3 red shirts. This was troublesome for North Carolina. Defensively, where did it fall apart for the Courage?
The Courage, you know what? It's very, very hard to defend Kansas City, as Darian pointed out. It's just that they were getting the tackles in. They weren't necessarily able to make the interceptions and turn it into anything, despite having the majority of possession. They needed to clean up their passing a bit, despite the fact that they did have a very high number of passes and completion, which is great. But we know that North Carolina liked to possess. It's unfortunate that they weren't able to turn it into anything else. Again, defensive deficiencies. Who hasn't been Weatherholt before calling for help? An island by themselves in panic. But especially with the attack that Kansas City have, the pace and just how aggressive they are, you can't let them take an extra step. Like, they will punish you for that.
North Carolina had moments where I feel like they were going to get one back or they were going to score, but it is so hard when you have a fresh-legged Chewinga running at you and constantly dominating. Ultimately, North Carolina hopes to refresh their system come NWSL regular season. They're currently sitting in 6th in those standings. The other semifinal, Gotham taking on Angel City. It was a Delaney Sheehan 48th minute goal to lift Gotham. They are headed to the final to take on Kansas City. But Angel City, Darian, throughout this Summer Cup has had some highs, some lows, but really some highs. We've seen progression from this team and their growth throughout this tournament. Where have you seen that growth?
They finally started playing to their strengths. They have a really fast front line. You can turn teams over. I think we did tactics on them combining on that right side with Giselle Thompson, with Claire Emsley popping into a 10, moving Rocky Rodriguez a little higher up the pitch. Those were finally moments where we were seeing it actually come together, but I feel that it's so inconsistent. And also every team knows that they're doing that now. Everyone knows that if Emsley's popping into the pocket, Thompson's going to go high. They're looking to combine in some way. And it's just that they've been found out. There needs to be another layer to their game where they can adapt in real time of, oh, this team is going into a block and is blocking us from being able to transition like that and have these combinations and fluidity. Let's go over the top and turn them around. I think we have to wait until halftime, till the next game to see Becky Tweed talking about it, and everyone knows that's what you're doing next.
Angel City has gotten Kristen Press back, though. She played a couple of minutes 2 matches ago. She subbed on in the 80th minute as previous match. How will she change the game for Angel City in the regular season?
Kristen Press is such an intelligent player, so I think she's going to bring so many different layers of leadership, her expertise, her 1v1 ability, because people respect her so much, just how she's able to attract defenders to her and free up her teammates. But I don't think that it's going to be enough. I think they need to get everybody to play to their strengths. They need a style of play that plays to everybody's strengths, and I don't think we've seen that yet. And I sense a little pressure on Becky Tweed coming out of the Summer Cup.
I think that you've hit on something there, especially since they started the season, and then they had that cluster of injuries where it's like you're not really
they've had an unlucky season in that way. Yeah,
and then they start to gel a bit, and then things seem to just kind of drip off a little bit. And they haven't really gotten to full steam Angel City that we know they can be.
Well, we'll see. Potentially, they sit in 11th in the NWSL season right now. On the other side of that, Gotham FC, they go on an unbeaten run, 6 matches, and in their previous 3 matches, they've outscored their opponents 5-0. What's working for Gotham?
Everything seemingly at this point, right? Remember earlier in the season where we were like, what is happening? They're not scoring goals, they're not shooting. And Coach Juan Carlos Amaro said, I'm not worried. They're creating the chances, the goals will come. I, on the other hand, I was a little bit worried. I was a skeptic, okay? But they managed to play this game out really well. Like, they countered, they came back, they made passes count when they needed to. The shots on target, 50% of their shots taken ended up converting to goals. So I feel like they're in a much better place than they have been. Just a really smart team. Also, Delaney Sheehan,
Something I have to give Gotham props to is their defensive structure. I think that's what's really given them the consistency we've seen. Yes, the kind of lack of goal scoring has been something we've talked about, or the low scoring games constantly when they create so many chances, but teams can't put any away against them. They struggle. I think that's what's going to give Gotham the longevity and the intimidating factor to go up against high-scoring teams, because it's nearly impossible to break them down or get out of their press. I think it's been fun to see how solid and consistent they've been with that throughout the season.
Are you predicting another Gotham final?
Maybe Gotham, Kansas City, maybe.
So we could see a Summer Cup rematch final of the NWSL final. Well, first comes the Summer Cup final, though. We know Gotham is going to take on Kansas City, a side that you just taught us very much about, is good in transition, can score goals in a variety of ways. They've got waves of pressure. How does Gotham defense need to shore up before that October 25th final?
Well, when they played Kansas City, they figured it out in the second half. You have to knock Chawinga before she starts going. You have to shut her down. You have to shut down Bia or Dabinia up top to not be able to hold up space, keep possession of the ball, and then put anything forward to Chawinga. I think that that's how they'll shut them down, because Gotham plays with a high line. But I'm interested to see what Vlatko Andonovski will do with Kansas City going against Gotham again, because it was a good tactical game the last time we saw them match up, but I think they'll ask different questions of each other this time around.
That would be crazy if we got a Summer Cup final
in October.
That's absolutely crazy.
It's so far away.
Well, it's because of the international window.
I know, but it's just ridiculous.
I don't make the rules. I just talk about them.
I know.
I don't know anything. Don't worry. But what I do know is that we've got more Attacking Third coming up next. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. The NWSL on CBS returns in 2 weeks' time with Match Day 17, and a full weekend of matches are set. On Saturday, August 24th, CBS is bringing you a doubleheader. At 2 p.m. Eastern, Gotham FC hosts the Portland Thorns, and then at 4, it's the SoCal Derby between San Diego Wave and Angel City. On Sunday, the Washington Spirit welcome the Kansas City Current to Audi Field at noon. You can catch that match on CBS Sports Network. Stay with us. More Attacking Third coming up next. Welcome back to Attacking Third. We are now so pleased to be joined by the fourth member of our team, Sandra Herrera, joining us. Sandra, ahead of this Olympics gold medal match, we have Brazil and USA. It's a rematch of the CONCACAF W Gold Cup final that we had back in March. How did the CONCACAF W Gold Cup prepare Brazil and USA for this Olympics tournament?
Oh my goodness, I love a throwback. I can't believe we could have all predicted this, maybe, if we were paying close attention to the Gold Cup final. I love it. I think what stands out to me the most heading into this gold medal match, when I think about the throwback to Gold Cup in February and March, was often the framing and the phrasing around players and the coaching staff at the time about preparation and how that particular tournament was going to be one that helped all of the teams involved prepare for the Olympics. We heard it from then interim head coach Twyla Kilgore, even Alex Morgan herself in media availabilities, that this particular tournament and the way that it was scheduled, the games in quick successions, the teams that were even involved, this was going to be key preparation for what? The Olympics. And now here we are previewing and talking about a gold medal match that is featuring the two teams that went head to head in that Gold Cup final.
Sandra, do you think any of the other federations are going to want to kind of have a similar W Gold Cup going into the next Olympics to help them prepare?
Possibly. I mean, that's what ends up moving the needle, right? Whenever we talk about these global championship type of tournaments, World Cups and Olympics. I mean, coming out of that World Cup, folks talking a ton about Liga IFA and how Spain have kind of built up their program through the youth ranks, and all of that gets attention. And so now here we are in the Olympics, and we're rightfully talking about the Gold Cup. So it's first iteration or reimagining of this Gold Cup will eventually probably continue to evolve because it never looks the same from when it starts. So I wouldn't be surprised if maybe other teams out there are taking a look at this particular competition and saying, hey, maybe we want in on that. CONMEBOL was invited to the CONCACAF Gold Cup as guests. So maybe a wider net will be cast in the future.
All right, Sandra, we've got Brazil against USA, two rosters that are pretty stacked. And we had a fun activity for you to build your Super 11, if you will, your best 11 using both Brazil and USA roster. Take us through your starting 11.
Yeah, so I'm had a little bit of fun with this. It was tough to narrow it down, but going into this gold medal match, I've got to all Nair in net for this one because I think she's had an incredible tournament. But Emily Fox, Naomi Girma, Tarciani, and Crystal Dunn to go ahead and round out the back line. I've got an all Brazilian midfield with Angelina, Marta, and Adriana, and there was no way I was moving away from the attacking trio of Swanson, Smith, and Rodman for this match, so I'm sticking with them up top as well.
So, Sandra, I noticed that you have omitted any of the Americans from the midfield. What happened? Not even a coffee shout in that back line. What's going on, Sandra?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think it's evident going into this final match, and I think if you take a look at the course of the tournament as a whole at this point, the defenders have things locked down. We can't stop singing the praises of Naomi Girma. I think Emily Fox has had a very good tournament as well. Crystal Dunn, we look at her covering tons of ground throughout matches, and obviously Alyssa Nair with a golden foot now along with golden gloves. So that was going to be a lock. And then, of course, we keep singing the praises of the attacking trio of Swanson and Smith and Rodman. But there's a line that we don't really find ourselves speaking a lot about, and has tended to be the middle third of the pitch. I think Coffee is a player that has stood out amongst others in terms of the rotation that we've seen throughout this tournament. But when I look at Brazil, I cannot deny what they've been bringing to the pitch. I think Angelina especially has been an incredible player for them. She's one that I think they're going to want to target and make sure that they limit her impact going into this final.
Sandra, I'm surprised. I mean, we stand Alyssa Nair, obviously. She's a superhero. But Lorena in this tournament, I think, has been incredible, especially because, I mean, I'll admit I didn't have high expectations for Brazil's goalkeeping position. I think she's been fantastic. 8 saves against Spain. She kept them in the game. Why not Lorena over Nair?
Yeah, incredible performance in the semifinal for her, and doing it on what looks like some fatigue or possibly even an injury, playing through the pain for sure. And as impressed as I was by that particular, semifinal, I just can't narrow it down to that. I wanted to take into perspective some of the games that we've seen throughout the duration of this tournament.
I'm still stuck on the midfield, Sandra. What is up with Marta in this best 11? She's missed the past 2 games. What warranted
2.5.
Marta in this lineup for you?
I think we saw a little bit of a response from Brazil. I think they were forced to kind of see how they could navigate without her, because there was a lot that was being played with her, through her, and around her in the first 2 games of this match. So despite her missing 2 games, I kind of going back with the first 2, it's tough to see and think about that Japan game and how she came off the pitch and things just sort of fell apart. That is who she is to this team. I think we're maybe getting in for a special surprise when she makes the return for the final.
Sandra, we're going to pivot right into your Spain versus Germany combined, because I have some questions. One, there seems to be far fewer Spanish players included in here. And then my other big fat question mark is we have Pop listed as a forward in here, and we've seen her really as a 6 this tournament, just making up for some of that heavy lifting that Oberdorf would ordinarily be doing. Spiegame, what's going on?
I guess it's just a little bit of backseat coaching for me, perhaps. I'm just kind of like, hey, we all know what this player is capable of and where she thrives. I'm absolutely putting her up top. I mean, talking a little bit about Marta and her absence and what that maybe forces her teammates to kind of cover or compensate for. I think about that a little bit of a similar thread with Germany as well. So I'm eager to see if she's available for this bronze medal match, how that's going to affect Germany and their motivation to medal out of this tournament, because I'm sure Spain is not happy with the semifinal that they're coming off of.
Sandra, I also love this diamond in the middle and a 2 front. That's a difficult formation to play, but I like it. No Jenny Hermoso. You had Putellas in there, which I like, but no Hermoso. What was the reasoning behind that?
Yeah, it's not for lack of effort, for sure, but she's had a very specific role throughout this Olympics, and she's, been pretty honest and upfront about that her role is different. It's often been off the bench, but she is a player that has been able to show that she still has an impact for this team, especially in the moments and when it's counts. But it's not so much for her lack of effort, but I think in terms of the appearances that I saw throughout the tournament, mainly decisions by the coaching staff.
Coach Herrera, there's one other complaint. Can I file a complaint?
Of course.
You have Hegering, who for me, is one of the standouts for Germany. But omitted, notably, is Newskin, who also has put in a hell of a shift every match. Could we maybe get her in? No? Can I file a late substitution?
Listen. I'm all ears. I'm a collaborative coach. Okay. I'm here to listen to what everybody's got to say. And as much as I didn't want recency bias to kind of play a little bit of a role in putting some of these combo type of lineups together, it did play a little bit when it came into Hedgering. I thought she had an incredible match against USA.
Fine. I'll bring the orange slices, coach.
Yeah, let her just coach. She knows what she's doing. Sandra, for USA Brazil, this will be the third gold medal match between these two sides. The first two times, it was in 2004 and 2008, USA getting the better of Brazil in both of those matches. But of those four rosters from 2004 and 2008, you made a Legends starting 11 from Brazil and USA back in the early 2000s. Take us through your 11.
Yeah, we had to do it. We had a lot of fun talking about the rivalry between USA and Japan, and now we get to talk a little bit about the one between USA and Brazil, which maybe for some folks, they have forgotten about it a little bit because of these games, which took place almost 20 years ago or in 2008. So I think when it comes to taking a look at those legends, this was the hardest one for me to make between the two, just out of this current tournament. But I'm going with Scurry in goalkeeper, Rampone, Fawcett, Markgraf, and Rosana to round out the back line. I've got Box, Formiga, and Marta, of course, Tarpley, Cristiani, and Wambach on my best 11 for the gold medal matches of 2004-2008. I want to emphasize that when I was going through this, it was to go through players who played in those gold medal matches specifically. So that was even more difficult because what a time it was. You had to be there.
I would absolutely pay big bucks to see that team play in their prime.
Yeah. I mean, I was going to say, Bryce Scurry, I didn't realize that you selected these specifically because those were players that played in these matches, but I was like, ooh, we're reigniting that Hope Solo Bryce Scurry substitution fiasco. Like,
all the drama back from the
I'm here for it.
No.
Like, my brain was fully formed and I remember that day, so.
No, I want none of that smoke, trust me. But look, anyone who can go back and see, and even just highlights of that 2004 gold medal match final that went into extra time with Brian Escari and net, had to come up with some incredible saves. Even didn't make all of them, but Brazil did get one in the back of the net. But we're talking about a very young Marta coming off of a 2003 World Cup where she kind of really bursted onto the global radar for casual fans, and Cristiani as well. Really, really good stuff, I think, in these early days of what maybe folks can consider the kind of the beginnings of a rivalry with Brazil.
Sandra, thank you so much. This was really fun to break it down. And we get another exciting USA-Brazil matchup on Saturday as those two teams head into the gold medal match to see who's going to top the podium. Don't go anywhere. We are previewing USA-Brazil next.
We are ready for the W Gold Cup final. The United States in their all blues today. The Brazil, unmistakable yellows. You can put the cross in, well, locked in with plenty of air. Morgan's there. Herrera is there! Lindsay Herrera has given the U.S. the lead in this W Gold Cup final. Through difficulty, through setbacks, the United States are once again lifting silverware. They've won the first ever W Gold Cup.
It's a rematch of the 2024 CONCACAF W Gold Cup, Brazil against USA. It is their fifth meeting in the Olympics all time, and USA has gotten the better of Brazil the previous four meetings. However, Darian, throughout this Olympic tournament, Brazil has been pretty good. They knock out host France, and then they top world champions Spain. How have you seen the Brazilians grow over the last 2 weeks?
We've seen more tenacity in Brazil than ever. There's been a lot of doubt, like we said earlier, about the defensive side, the organization, the goalkeeping position. But watching the W Gold Cup and thinking about all of those games, feels like so long ago. That's crazy. That was this year. But seeing, you can really tell how much this team has grown. There's less mistakes in the back line. They look so organized, and they just look like a solid team with so much belief. And I'm really looking forward to this matchup because I don't think Brazil is going to come out in a mid to low block by any means. They're going to come out swinging against the U.S. They didn't come out and play shy against Spain and were playing timid. They actually seemed like they wanted to disrespect them a little bit, and it worked out. I can't wait for this game.
What do you think, Christine? What changes do you expect from Brazil?
I don't think they have to make too many, right? Like,
Well, do you think Marta starts?
Gabby Nunez, Jennifer, Gabby Portillo has been great in that top line. I don't know if. I feel like no, honestly, I mean.
No?
For vibes, do you want to start her? Or I don't think that. I think you put in Marta later. I don't think I put her. I don't think I started her.
I think Marta starts.
I do too.
You think she starts because she's
I
been
do.
out for 2 games suspended and it's just a show, or you think that?
I don't think it's just for show. It's Marta. How do you not start her? But I think what she brings to this team, even just looking up and seeing her in the stands, that energy being brought to the pitch is going to be huge for them. And we see her dominate in against most of these players in the NWSL.
What's to say she
That's
can't
true.
do it in
Yeah.
a gold medal match?
There's nothing to say she can't do
And
it.
she's
She
rested.
literally is Marta.
She's very rested.
She's actually. I take that back because she's more rested than any player.
Anybody.
in this entire
She's had
tournament now.
2
Right.
matches
She's
to rest.
so
Forced
intense
rest,
as
which is
well,
more rest
coming
than
into
she
an
usually
Olympic
gets during regular season. So, okay, Marta will start.
So Marta, fresh
all
Marta,
agree.
potentially going to start against a U.S. side that has had back-to-back extra time games with not a lot of rotation. Darian, how does Emma Hayes approach this match tactically?
Think the exact same. I would be shooketh if she switches things up at this point. Especially reading her quote earlier, she wants them to suffer. She wants this starting 11, her preferred
so crazy.
starting
she
11.
Wants them to suffer.
Yeah, I understand.
Not all
though.
suffering
This
is bad.
But this is how you create the identity of the team. That's something that we've given a lot of criticism to this U.S. side is the identity is lost. That fight that we know of these legends of the game, the winners of this team that have become so decorated. We kind of fell off of that a little bit. I think we're seeing that now, and I think Emma Hayes is such an intelligent coach. She knew that they needed to have some sort of fight to get to this point, and it's almost like poetry that it's actually gotten to this. But yeah, I don't know. I think Brazil's going to pose a lot of problems.
I'm worried because
them.
I think both teams are showing up to play their game. And this is good enough.
we love.
Of course, we love that. There's a fearlessness in it. But I think this is going to be the ultimate test of this U.S. side, which obviously criticisms for lack of productivity and goal scoring. They're young. They're scrappy. I think that this is going to be.
They can't score on set pieces. Watch them score on a set piece.
Watch them. Yeah, I'm like, if I breathe it into existence, do I actually
manifest.
help them? But yeah, and Brazil will not let them up. There won't be any of that breathing room for them to essentially be patient. The patience that they've learned where they've been passing the ball around, the tempo is going to be faster, the pressure is going to be higher. It's going
I don't think
to be
the U.S. will dictate the game
at all.
as they have
And
the other matches.
that's what I mean by I think they're both showing up wanting to play their own game.
What would it take for the U.S. to dictate the tempo in this match?
I mean, incredibly accurate movement, passes. I think we've seen that with the U.S. against a mid to low block or a very low block where there's more space, there's more times. But there have been moments, especially against Germany, where we saw them get pressed. They were obviously setting a trap to the U.S.'s left side. And the balls were picked off, mistakes were made. It caused a lot of issues.
But it's the gold medal match.
Yeah, so I think
Tensions
Brazil's
are
going to
high.
come out pressing.
Yeah.
Why
Yeah.
wouldn't you? It worked
They're-
out against the best team in the world.
Exactly that. And I was worried about
have all the
having to
confidence.
face Spain, and now having seen the way that Brazil have effectively eaten up Spain, I'm worried that they have no issue attacking and trying to rattle the cage, even in that back line, where you try to find the deficiencies, who's going to be the weakest link today. If they manage to clog up the midfield and kind of negate them, you really just have to deal with our back line, which Girma, rock solid, but you're going to have, I'm assuming we put Crystal Dunn back there again to start this, not Nice
sure.
Longer.
Yeah.
Just for safety's sake, and then Fox on the right, and hopefully Tierna's healthy. But if exploiting space and just deficiencies is going to be Brazil's game, like they're bringing physicality to our back line.
Everyone was going to watch this match anyway, but now I'm even more jazzed for it. USA-Brazil gold medal match. Quickly, who's your winner? Who's taking home gold?
Ooh, U.S. for sure.
Christine?
U.S.
I'm going USA too. Ooh, Ooh, I like it. I'm so excited for that match. Saturday, 11 a.m. We'll be live on youtube.com/attackingthird to recap it. There's also a bronze medal match. We get to see Spain go against Germany Friday at 9 a.m. These two will battle it out to see who picks up the bronze medal. Spain is coming off a big 4-2 loss to Brazil that they suffered, and Germany just a 1-0 loss against the United States. Spain feels like they have more to lose in this match, Darian, getting whopped by Brazil. What do you expect from the Spaniards to respond?
I'm glad that
I was like, oh, I forgot about that song. I expect Spain to have their tail between their legs a little bit. I mean, nobody expected them to not make it to the final. I think most of us predicted Spain would be in the final in our brackets, if I'm remembering correctly. So I think that they're going to come out and be a little bit more timid. I mean, talk about Brazil being a physical side, Germany's a physical side. We talked about against the U.S. how many fouls were at halftime. I think it was 11 total fouls already.
Through 45 minutes.
Through 45 minutes, just through the first half. So we've seen that can be a really big factor going against Spain. That's a huge advantage that Germany has. I think maybe Spain will put some away just because asking questions and how they play against Germany, but I expect it to be a really, really gritty game to get that bronze medal.
Yeah, I think Germany have also limited rotation, again, similar to what Emma Hayes has done with this U.S. side. So they are working with tired legs, but I think they're very strategic. I think they've got a really good defense, especially if they're using Pop in the back line again as that 6.
So who wins?
I hope they send Pop high, though.
I know. I would love to see free Pop, but I don't think they're going to, just to play it safe.
They've got to defend. Who wins? Bronze?
I'm going Germany.
Spain.
Oh, so Spain, I'm going to go Spain.
Deadlock.
I think Spain's going to get it. Spain in their first ever Olympics, looking to pick up their first medal, and Germany hoping for their first since 2016. But it's USA, Brazil, gold medal match on Saturday. We'll see you on YouTube following that match.